As some of you might not be aware, I am a trophy hunter. While I personally don't go for the hardest plats around, I do try my best to keep my trophy list with solid hundreds all around. With a whopping total of 340 platinum trophies under my belt, I'd say I'm doing pretty good. However, sometimes games get updates, and sometimes those updates come with trophies. So, every December, I make it a tradition to hunt down these DLC trophies to try my best at maintaining a solid completionist status. I work hard to keep myself under a 90% completion rating, and damn it, I want 100%. So please, join me on my journey as I go back and play some of my favorite games, and some of my not so favorite games, to try and earn back my 100% completion. Welcome to D.L.Cember. The first thing I did was jump back into Assassin's Creed Shadows, which has been receiving consistent updates throughout the year. And surprisingly enough, I've been keeping up with as they rolled out new updates. That and I'm broke, so I didn't have new releases to distract me. God, I want you, Ghost of Yote. Anyways, this recent update came with 3 new trophies to achieve, all having to do with the different content they added. Master Builder, which comes with reaching Hideout level 13, Skill Swap, which was the story content added to the game, which required to train these lovely dumbasses, and All Clear, which required to complete 5 corrupted castles around the map. The first thing I did was go around the map clearing corrupted castles, which weren't that difficult to do. Pretty much, some castles got reset and have tougher Daisho enemies around, and require us to defeat them and loot the chest in the main keep. Did this 5 times, and the trophy was mine. After that, I decided to take part in training Kinu and Kane, which I guess were the 2 buffoons from the beginning of the game. I wouldn't have known this if Naue hadn't mentioned it in the cutscene. All this mission includes is training each playable character with a move that character is known for. Yasuke teaches Naue how to kick, and Naue teaches Yasuke how to not be an aggressive asshole when stabbing stealthily. After all of this, you have a boss fight with the opposing character. I played as Naue, as she was my main for the majority of the game. After this, the trophy was mine, and hopefully, the big mysterious door doesn't end up being important for anything later down the line. Finally, we have the Master Builder trophy, which was by far the most tedious trophy to achieve in this update, as I hadn't really spent much time collecting resources for the hideout. Thankfully, this wasn't as time-consuming as I thought it was going to be. All I did was complete laps around the map, completing contracts that gave hideout resources as rewards. Did this about 5 times, and the trophy was mine, thus bringing Assassin's Creed Shadows back to 100% completion. Shadows has been an interesting game to follow this past year, as every content drop they've pushed out has been completely free, which is weird for Ubisoft. They've been doing this so often that I joke that every time I uninstall the game, they add more stuff to do. It's like they know. Anyways, glad to have this back at 100%. This was probably the biggest surprise of 2025 for me, because I wasn't expecting a free DLC drop for Assassin's Creed Mirage 2 years later after the game's initial release. But here we are. The Valley of Memory DLC brings Basim to Aula, searching for his long-lost father, and with this update comes new post-game content, as well as 11 trophies to achieve. 2 trophies, Make a Break and Turn the Page, are story-related, and come with completing the story. As for the others, oh boy. This update comes with 3 additional categories, 4 dedicated to collectibles, 2 miscellaneous trophies, and 2 dedicated to challenges. Let's start with the collectibles. Scattered throughout the map, there are different collectibles to find. some not in the traditional sense. Once Upon a Time requires you to go around the map listening to folk tales, which I honestly thought was going to have more content with. If this was Odyssey or Origins, we probably would have ended up fighting some of the stories that were mentioned. For Pro Musician, you have to collect all oud melodies around the map. These act as parkour challenges, as you have to catch the flying melody, similar to the shanties from Black Flag. These aren't difficult, and there are only a few of them. Lost and Found is kind of a weird one, as there are two parts to this trophy. Scattered throughout the map, you can rob bandits for lost goods treasure maps. Me, like the idiot I am, thought this was all I needed to do for the trophy. But you actually have to find the locations from the maps in order to return the lost items back to Hind, the woman you meet in the story. Since the map isn't big, I didn't mind going on the hunt for these treasures. And by hunt, I mean reading a guide, because there was no way I was going to find them based on the actual clues. After completing each section of the map, you'll also unlock the collectible trophy like a local.
Wild. It would be wise to bring a companion to watch your back.
A sound counsel. I shall heed your advice.
With the collectibles out of the way, I wanted to get the miscellaneous trophies done before going for the real meat of the chapter. First, taste your own medicine, which requires you to poison a poisoner. Poison enemies are these bandits that carry a green sword. In order to achieve this, I equipped the Hidden One sword, which inflicts poison every 5th hit. Did this, and the trophy was mine. The next one was, which is probably the hardest of the update's trophy list, Give It the Slip, which requires you to escape Aula prison without being detected. This took me 6 attempts to do right, and since this happens during a story mission, I had to restart the application every time I failed. What sucks is that the Animus replay challenge for this mission is easier than the actual story mission, as it lessens the amount of enemies you'll encounter. Speaking of Animus replay, it's time to tackle the final 3 trophies of the update. Animus Replay allows you to replay the major story missions, as well as contracts, and provides various challenges for you to complete when replaying said mission. You get the trophy, if I recall correctly, for replaying one mission, but the meat comes from what's next. Perfect memory. That's obtained by completing all challenges within a mission, which isn't too daunting. A lot of the in-mission challenges are the same, i.e. don't use eagle vision, only kill the main target, don't get detected, and a time constraint. Some of these are fine, and others are complete bullshit. Since I hadn't played Mirage since its initial release in 2023, I could not remember for the life of me what to do for the majority of the contracts and main missions from the main story. I mostly kept to the contracts as they were short and simple. Don't get me wrong, some of these were bullshit, but I managed to do it without too much trouble. For completing challenges, you earn rewards through a seasonal pass-like system. To achieve all rewards, you have to complete at least 93 challenges. Doing this, you'll earn playback. Overall, this DLC was short and sweet, and overall, not that bad. The story was fine. The replay value from challenges was fun, and it really felt like playing old school Assassin's Creed again. To make things better, this was free. So if you have Assassin's Creed Mirage, reinstall it and give it a try. I platinumed Final Fantasy XV back in 2017, and more or less, I've been ignoring the multiple DLCs for the game, since one of them is impossible to achieve nowadays, since they separated the multiplayer DLC Comrades to make it its own thing and disabled trophies for said DLC. I tried episode Gladiolus sometime later, but more or less ignore the rest. Now, I think it's time to change that, and play episode Prompto. This DLC takes place after Chapter 12, when Noctis pushes Prompto off the train and has to deal with some pretty deep-rooted insecurities. But I'm not here to discuss the psychology of Prompto. I'm here to discuss trophies. This DLC comes with 7 trophies, 1 story trophy, 3 combat trophies, 2 boss fights, and a time trial. Let's start with sharpshooting and field photographer, as they were the first trophies I earned during this update. For sharpshooting, I had to use Prompto's crackshot attack to defeat 30 enemies. In order to do so, the enemy has to be stunned to trigger the attack. Seconds later, I earned field photographer, which requires Prompto to use his selfie shot attack 10 times in combat. Next one I wanted to get was tackling an Emperor Deposed, which required taking on the Kaiser Behemoth boss fight. Not gonna lie, I was pretty hesitant taking this on, as all guides pointed it as a level 99 enemy and Prompto was only a measly level 34. I'm not exactly a fan of taking on enemies way out of my league, but there I went. The battle wasn't too difficult since Aranea distracted the enemy most of the time, leaving me to consistently shoot it with a bazooka. A few well-placed blasts and Aranea stabs and it went down. With that done, I headed towards the final story quest and took out the remaining 2 stealth kills back to back. This got me Unseen Assassin. Maybe Prompto joined the Creed in another life. With that done, it was time to finish the story and take on the final boss, which awfully reminded me of the final boss from Jak 3. Watching the credits netted me unbreakable bonds. Time for the final 2 trophies of the DLC, the Dragoon Slayer and Dogged Rider. And believe me, they were a doozy. I went for Dogged Rider first, which required me to get the highest rank in all 3 time trials. I thought, this should be easy, until I spent an hour and a half on one time trial and wanted to give up life. Thankfully, my fiance played Smiling Friends to keep my spirits high. This one's for you, Gwimbly. After that, it was time to take on Aranea, the super boss of the DLC. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but I was ready to... Oh, that was surprisingly easy. Episode Prompto is a fine DLC. Personally, it wasn't that exciting and doesn't really add much to the base game, but hey, maybe the other ones will add more depth to the game. But I'm not covering those in this video. It's time to move on to the next one. Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favorite franchises that PlayStation has come out with. And while I don't agree that it should have gotten a PS5 remaster, I still bought it, which means I'm part of the problem. Anyways, there are 2 trophies that are a part of a DLC update, New Game Plus. One trophy is for completing New Game Plus on any difficulty, and the other is for completing New Game Plus on Ultra Hard difficulty. For the sake of time, I decided to tackle both trophies at the same time. I mean, might as well, right? Horizon Zero Dawn can be tough at times during any normal playthrough, but Ultra Hard mode is a much bigger can of worms. It's definitely recommended to have the Shield Weaver outfit, as it provides a defensive shield that's able to take pre-damage before taking actual damage. Here are some of my highlights. trophies at once, and Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered back at 100%. I never realized just how broken the Ropecaster is. That weapon got me through every scary machine fight to the point where I wouldn't stress Thunderjaws or Stormbirds. That weapon is broken for real. And that's gonna cut it for this video. With a grand total of 23 trophies earned in the span of this month, it's not exactly the number I was going for. But at the time of this video's release, I'm currently on vacation visiting family in Wisconsin, away from my console, and most importantly, away from the ability to earn trophies. If I'm being completely honest, this year was one of my weaker years for trophy hunting, as I spent a good chunk of the year yearning for new releases without playing a single one of them. That and Assassin's Creed Shadows kept getting updates. Next year, I plan on releasing more trophy hunting videos, because what's one more YouTuber in the ring, right? 2026 is going to be a far bigger year for content in general for me, but I'll speak more about that in the new year. But until then, I hope you all have a sumptuous day, until our next communion.